Hey everybody, I was going to give 2 shout outs today, and then it occurred to me, maybe I should say 2 shouts out, like attorneys general. King of all digressions there. This first shout out is to a book called Mindless Eating by Brian Wansink, who's a scientist, I believe, in Chicago, who does a lot of fascinating work on why we eat, what we eat and don't eat. What is mindless eating? What is the concept that Brian Wansink is talking about? It's basically that you eat not based on how hungry you are or how full you are, but you eat based on what is around you, what's available, what's convenient. One of the experiments from the book that I really enjoyed reading about was a restaurant/lab where they invited in about 100 students and served them all unlimited chicken wings. For half of the room, the bones from their wings were bussed away from the table almost immediately. The other half of the room, the chicken bones were allowed to pile up and were not removed. Which group do you think ate less? Well, it was the group that could see how many bones were piling up because they had some cue or visual marker for how much they were eating. Very fascinating stuff. So why is this interesting? There's a corollary in marketing that I would call mindless marketing, which is simply to say, don't spend your marketing budget just because you have one. I think all CEOs who are ultimately in charge of marketing, because they're in charge of budgeting and priorities, there is a temptation to say, okay, well, how much do people in our industry spend on marketing? 1% of revenue, 2% of revenue? Well, let's put that aside and let's call that the marketing budget. And then next year, what do we say? Well, we spent 1% last year, let's do 1% again this year. And because revenue went up, the marketing budget will go up. That's kind of mindless. I'm suggesting to do it on almost a monthly basis because the velocity of marketing tactics and the marketing mix has changed so much. You can just sit around for 6 months and just spend money. By the way, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't spend money on marketing. What I'm suggesting is the rigor and the frequency with which you revisit what you're doing so that it doesn't become mindless. The second shout out is the guy who called the book to my attention and many other people's attention. His name is Noah Kagan. He's a serial entrepreneur. His current company is called AppSumo. I describe it as basically Groupon for business tools and services. So one day I saw an email from him that said, 18 books that changed my life, and I thought, yeah, right. But because it was from him and I'd seen his other stuff, I decided to open the email, and I scrolled down and there were some of the usual suspects, a couple Seth Godins in there. But when I saw Mindless Eating, I thought that applies to me. I will grab what's in the candy dish as I walk by, regardless of whether I'm hungry or full. So that's all for now. Check out the book, check out AppSumo, check out Noah Kagan, and I will keep you posted.